on the trade segment thing, Patrick Maroon, and this is one that interests me because it seems like every every trade deadline he's moved, with the exception of a couple. So I remember last year he was traded to Boston. Before that, he was Tampa, Minnesota. He has a lot of teams to his name. Now he's in Chicago. But given Maroon's impact with Chicago and his impact with other teams, he's won Stanley Cups. He knows what it takes to win, and obviously he's a very well liked locker room guy, as if he's that highly coveted, even as he becomes more of a sheltered fourth line player. He's still an impact player, and that's what teams are looking for at the trade deadline, without a doubt. I if I were a GM in the National Hockey League right now, you can look at your roster and say, we could use a Patrick Maroon, but then it's the question of who do you subtract?
Mm-hmm.
Like, Chris, here's a hypothetical question for you. If the Detroit Red Wings were in a playoff spot right now, like
Which
say
they
they
are.
had a large lead and they
Yo,
are in a playoff spot, but say they knew going in confidently to the trade deadline that they will make it, and they've made that decision that it's all or nothing for them with this core. And they picked up a guy like Patrick Maroon. Is there a player that you would subtract to add Maroon right now? And I know
there,
that could be a tough question. And I can see the hamster moving in the head. So,
there's definitely one player I would, but I don't think the Blackhawks would do it, and that's Tyler Mott. I
and
mean,
that
if I can
becomes like,
slide in Maroon to the fourth line of that team and I lose Marat in that aspect, it's something I'd obviously entertain.
and now I say this in the hypothetical of, should the Detroit Red Wings want to bring a guy to their core that has that pedigree but sticks up for your guys, I think that's the guy who does it. And I'm using the Detroit Red Wings as an example here because who on their roster would stick up for Dylan Larkin should he be blasted in the head come playoff time?
If we
Not
want to go
saying
over
that's
the
going
last
to
couple
happen,
games, Moritz Sider.
which is fair, but do you want one of your top guys spending 5+ minutes in the penalty box?
Nope. I
So,
think the writing's on the wall, and I thought of this the more I've seen his name in trade talks. It just makes sense for him to be back in Tampa. It makes so much sense.
and Tampa is going to be looking for that pedigree. You lost Maroon, you traded Janot away. Can't rely can't rely on skill guys and core guys to do these sort of things. So that's why I would be giving you the hypothetical of Patrick Maroon. And I agree with you that it makes sense for him to end up back in Tampa, because maybe he goes back to Tampa and he's the reason why they get into that playoff spot and kind of roll on more. Because I think the losses that the Tampa Bay Lightning suffered, it's impacting them and it's showing. So we're at this point of the season where Patrick Maroon is available, but who is looking at him? We've said where it makes sense, but players that are available with his caliber of physicality and previous experience playing with top guys where he actually didn't look that bad. Take a look at a team like Edmonton who might just want him to play the enforcer kind of role.